Imagine this, your son comes home from football practice and tells you that the coach spent the whole entire practice screaming, swearing, and yelling at them. He even mentions how a few of the players were called out and the coach called them weak, waste of space, and worthless. As a parent, how do you take that? Do you tell the son that the coach is simply motivating you and trying to make sure that you do the best that you can to become the best person in life? Or maybe you take a step back and to begin to think to yourself, is this really who I want my son to be coached by? Is this the individual who will continue to show my son these ways of life when they grow older? Well, as we all know, there are several different ways to coach individuals, and each person learns differently. However, when we are teaching students how to become adults and learn the ways of life once they're out on their own, in my opinion, the sensitivity and passion override the demand and discipline way of teaching. In the second year of Mike Riley's head coaching of the University of Nebraska, it is obvious that he and the former head coach, Bo Pelini, are two different people. The differences remain in the style of coaching, teaching student athletes, and the winning attitude. These are just a few of the examples where these two coaches differ. The reason why the firing of former head coach Bo Pelini and the hiring of Mike Riley should be considered a great move by the university. First, Mike Riley has a wide variety of experience within the coaching industry. According to the University of Nebraska, in 2016, this year marked the 25th year of Mike Riley's coaching history. Also this year, after the victory against Fresno State, he earned his 100th career victory. According to ESPN, in 2014, before the University of Nebraska, Mike Riley spent 12 years at the University of Oregon State. Before that, he was in the National Football League at the San Diego Chargers, and prior to that, it was the Canadian Football League with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, where he won 2 titles. He actually began his coaching career in 1977 at Linfield College in Oregon as the defensive back coordinator. Bo Pelini, however, began his head coaching career at the University of Nebraska in 2007 with no prior head coaching. According to Youngstown State, in 2014, Bo Pelini had an overall record at the University of Nebraska of 67-27, which equates to roughly just over 71%. He won at least 9 games in every one of the 7 years at Nebraska and also had 4 divisional championships. When you compare this to Mike Riley, whose overall coaching record, including the NFL and Canadian Football League, of 173 and 158, which equates to just roughly 52%, why would the university make that decision to fire Bo Pelini, who's a proven winner, and hire an average coach? It appears, as we go deeper, that there are other reasons rather than just wins and losses. Let's take a look at Bo Pelini's coaching strategy. In a recent article in the Omaha World Herald in 2015, Tom Osborne, a former athletic director of the University of Nebraska and the individual who hired Bo Pelini, stated, Bo's character was a proven issue on and off the field. I took a chance with Bo Pelini. Bo Pelini won a lot of games, but I didn't know enough about his character before hiring him. This came back to bite him as well as the program. He also went on to say that Bo did not relate well with the press, nor did he relate well with the fans. These were just a few of the not so good things that resulted in the end for Bo Pelini. In addition to this comment by Tom Osborne, Bo Pelini had several sideline issues and tantrums. In 2014, after a loss during the Iowa game, Bo Pelini vigorously slashed his hat in front of a referee, coming within inches of hitting him. At the end of this game, in the press conference, he was asked about the incident, and he mentioned he basically demanded the university to fire him if they wanted to. As well as those issues, players have commented that they felt it was a high-stress environment. If a mistake was made, they were taken out and rarely saw any more playing time after that. This began to raise questions. Was Bo Pelini coaching the way that Nebraska wanted their program to be ran? The Nebraska football was built on smart, clean, fundamentally sound, and well-coached backgrounds. The coach has always been positive in coaching student athletes in representing the state. When these tantrums were demonstrated on the sideline, people began to question Bo Pelini's ability to represent the university as well as the state. Now let's take a look at the other side and Mike Riley and his coaching strategies. Mike Riley is known as one of the nicest people in the sport of football. However, people began to question, can you win with only niceness? It was apparent with the firing of Bo Pelini and the hiring of Mike Riley that Nebraska wanted a change of culture. It was almost a cleaning of the house, you may say, for the university as well as the football department. They wanted to rid of the us versus the world mentality that was established during the Bo Pelini regime. In 2015, Amani Cross, a former player for Nebraska, stated after the Iowa loss, "Player relationship is extremely important in this kind of environment. Coaches aren't cussing or throwing chairs or knocking over clipboards." With Mike Riley, he basically states, "Okay, do you want it or not?" Another former player, Daniel Davey, stated, "Bo Pelini taught through a military style. He demanded excellence, and if it wasn't provided, there was harsh consequences." He went on to mention Mike Riley is the opposite, and gave this picture to describe it. "I'm going to lead you to the water, but you have to drink it." He also stated another example where Mike Riley will give you the tools to become a better man, person, friend, husband, child, etc. But you have to apply it to life. Finally, a third player who was quoted in 2016, "We are more of a close family now than we have ever been under this coaching staff." In an article in 2016 from the Omaha World Herald, Mike Riley was quoted, "I don't force the right decision on players. I let them find the decision on their own." This begins by realizing these things, you can begin to see that both coaches had different styles. Mike Riley stresses the student athlete, focusing on the student first. He provides the students with the tools to succeed in life. In conclusion, one can make an argument that the firing of Bo Pelini was a negative decision by the University of Nebraska. However, based on the points presented before you, hopefully these same people, as well as everyone else, can now understand why the hiring of Mike Riley was the best decision on behalf of the university and the state of Nebraska.